And we just want to welcome you to the National Institute for Genealogical Studies 2022 graduation. Because of COVID, we're including everybody from 2020 through 2022. So we do have a bit of a big graduation celebration. We also have some special things coming up. You might have noticed that we have a new logo and some new colors. Our colors are sapphire, silver, and white. So we have new school colors. But we're just thrilled to have you with us. With this graduation, my name is Angela Breidenbach. I'm the new executive director. I've taken over from Louise St. Denis, who is recently retired. And we're excited for her for all of the things I've heard she's planning on doing. And she will later be our special speaker. Stu de Groot has been trying really hard to join us. Unfortunately, she has lost her power, as many of you have heard. And she is our Director of Student and Curriculum Administration. So she's in Burlington, Ontario, and helps everybody daily, Monday through Friday. She does a lot of hard work. Gina Filibert Ortega is our Director of Genealogical Services. She's in Murrieta, California. She's also one who you will see often on our virtual meetings, helping out with students for AS1, 2, and 3. And she is a wonderful help for a lot of people. Cheryl Levy is our social media queen. She's also helping on some virtual meetings and student lounges. And she has been a mainstay for us here at the National Institute. Brenda Wheeler is our instructor and consultant extraordinaire, hailing out of Australia. We are so grateful that she's with us and that she has been able to help so many students in her career. And she is a wonderful person to work with. Jit is our Director of Technology, and he is helping us to build a new website, which you'll hear a little bit about in the coming months. And Alaska has been our shipping person. She's here with me in Missoula, Montana. And she is a very sweetheart who tries really hard to help everybody get their products. So we are your administration, your instructors, your professors, people to help you succeed along the way. We also have some others that are consultants and virtual meeting assists. They lead them, they help you learn while you go. Cheryl and Gina, we've already mentioned. Brenda, we've already mentioned. We have Kathy Holland and Lisa Alzo and Carrie Farmer. But we have some news. Shannon Combs-Bennett is going to be adding to these virtual meetings, not only some more DNA meetings, but she's also going to be adding some Mayflower and Colonial virtual meetings to help students that are doing their American records or their Canadian records that might combine into that early colonial era. And so that's kind of a fun thing coming up. So our members are well-known genealogists from around the world, and we are glad to be here to assist you to become either a family historian or a professional genealogist as well. And now we'd like to introduce our 20 to 22 graduates. Charles Buckley goes by Chuck. He hails out of Canmore, Alberta, Canada. He is a genealogical researcher with over 10 years experience and will be presenting Wanted, Dead or Alive, the Peter Look UE at the Ontario Ancestors Conference on Saturday next weekend. So catch up with that. Next we have Stephanie Cutter. She is from Middletown, Maryland, and her certificate's in American Records. She has a business named Cutter Genealogy, and we encourage you to visit our professional genealogists and their businesses. She is a professional genealogist focusing on North American records and archival care and management. She's an active genealogy volunteer in the Maryland area and contract genealogist with trace.com. So do visit Cutter Genealogy. Catherine Duffy, congratulations. She's out of Havertown, Pennsylvania. Her certificate is in Irish records. Catherine retired from her professional career recently. She enjoys traveling and being a family historian, doing genealogical research and reading historical fiction, hiking, and learning new things. She might have retired from her regular career, but she's a professional genealogist now. And Cheryl, you're up.
And Annette Dunford is from Dower Dummer, in Ontario, and her certificate is Irish records, but she previously earned the certificate in Canadian records. Annette has a passion for genealogical history since the age of 12 and has taken her on an interesting path with a lifelong journey. She enjoys helping others with their research. And Gaynell Fales is from Standish, Michigan, and her certificate is American Records with Distinction. And that means that she has over 90 in all of her marks. As a retired equine barn manager, dressage horse schooler, and sports massage therapist, Gaynell decided her next chapter would use her history and English degrees of studying genealogy. And Judith Fader is from Ridgetown, Ontario, and her certificate that she has earned is English Records. Judith, a retired United Church of Canada minister, has a passion for family history and education. She plans to provide genealogy events in specialized areas to beginners and the more experienced.
Kendra Geed, sorry, I pronounced her name wrong. Kendra Geed is from Winnipeg, Manitoba. She has earned her certificate in English records, and she is a writer and genealogist in Winnipeg. She is proud to be part of the Manitoba Genealogical Society's Research Committee since 2021. Her business name is Epic Genealogy. David Gray, he hails out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He has a Canadian Records with Distinction also. And his bio says that he is a genealogist specializing in Canadian, Scottish, Irish, and English family history research. He's the founder of Family Origins Research based in Toronto. Pamela Groth. She's from Gillette, Wyoming, close to me. She's got her certificate now in American Records. And Pamela is combining her extensive Norwegian research experience and American Records education to pursue regional accreditation through ICAP-GEN. Her focus is in the north-central United States.
Beatrice Hale from Oshawa, Ontario, has a certificate now in Canadian records, having previously earned her English records certificate. Beatrice is retired and has been studying for her own personal research. She does enjoy helping others with theirs. She finds the details of looking for family a great challenge. Karen Henkelman hails from Calgary, Alberta, and she has certificates in both Canadian and Irish records, both with distinction. Well done. Karen is currently researching her ancestors in Canada, UK, and Eastern Europe. She is working to complete the DNA and genetic certificate and is looking forward to starting her professional genealogy business. Lynn Jakubowski from Williamsburg, Virginia, has American Records certificate. Lynn's passion for genealogy developed as a teenager, helping her mother research their ancestors. She's currently on the clock as she works on her portfolio to become certified with the Board of Certified Genealogists. Business under the name of the Genealogy Parlor.
I like that name. Very good. Deborah Cavanier. She's from Green Valley, Arizona. I used to live near there. And she has her American Records and librarianship with distinction. So she'll be able to help a lot of folks in the library find the collections they need. Brief bio for Deborah is a professional genealogist from Southern Arizona. She's an avid genealogy and family history speaker, educator, and writer. Deborah's on board member of the Southern Arizona Genealogy Society, and her business name is Devonier Genealogy. Thank you. I'm so glad you're with us. We need more professionals. Diane Caius. Her records are in English records. Sorry, her certificate's in English records. She has a dedicated interest in genealogy for 45 years. Although Diane hasn't delved into professional genealogy yet, She hopes this is a possibility when she retires. Oh yes, Diane, it never lets you go. Lynn KENDELL. She's from Holland Landing, Ontario, Canada, and her certificate is in Canadian records. Lynn began her love of genealogy in 1990, researching her own history. She's working toward her DNA, Irish, and professional certificates while working full-time for the province of Ontario. You are a busy girl, Lynn. Wow.
And Marianne Littel is from Prescott, Arizona, and she's receiving her certificate in English records. Marianne has earned an associate degree in computer sciences, a BS, and an amateur extra ham radio license. Marianne has been pursuing her ancestor search for over 45 years. And Carol McKay is from Coquitlam, hope I said that right, BC, and she has earned her Canadian Records certificate. Carol writes 2 genealogy blogs called Family Photo Reunion and the 929 Bookcase. Her articles have appeared in Internet Genealogy and in many genealogy journals. A part-time professional genealogist, she works solely on referral. And Suzanne Mainprize is from Frankfurt, Ontario, and that's very close to me. And she has earned her Canadian Records certificate. Suzanne has a lifelong passion for history, social, geographical, national, and biological. As owner of Quinn Trees, her research specialties include Ontario, Canada, England, Ireland, and the Netherlands.
That was biographical, just to make sure folks know what you can do with Quinn Trees. Kathy McCabe. She's from Powder Springs, Georgia, USA. Her certificate's in American Records with distinction. Congratulations. Kathy is a professional genealogist in the Metro Atlanta area. She's an avid volunteer for the Cobb County Genealogical Society, the Powder Springs Family History Center, and Scouting. Her business name is Kathy McCabe Genealogy. Angela Miner. She's from Mesa, Arizona. She has an American Records with distinction, and Angie owns Angie's Photo Organizing and Genealogy, where she helps people see their history through photos. She also volunteers with Family Search, working with census records and family linking. Now, just because of that, Angela Miner, your interest in photos, stay tuned, because next month we have some special announcements coming up that you will be very interested in, and all those who are interested in photography will. Our next graduate is Ginger Munster, and she has her certificate in American Records. She has been working on her 2 families and her husband's family. She found some new old cousins in the process. She's earned her certificate for her own personal research. Congratulations. We know you're going to love it. Janet and, sorry, Brenda, your turn.
It's my turn. Janet Neal, Tacoma, Washington, has a certificate in American Records. Janet is a lover of all things family history for over 30 years. Her goal is to help others. She's preparing her genealogy business and wants to enter the speaking arena, and she has business under the name of Family by Design.
All right.
Evelyn Page from Grimsby, Ontario, has earned her certificate in Canadian Records, and she also holds English Records certificate. 4 certificates in humanities discipline with Exeter University's distance learning program, plus a PLCGS in English and Canadian Records. Dahlia De Silva Petgrave from Ancaster, Ontario, has a certificate in Canadian Records. Dahlia is a member of the Association of Professional Genealogists, Ontario chapter. She is a professional genealogist, speaker, and researcher. Dahlia is the managing director of Probate Research Consulting, Inc.
I can see we're going to need to have some of these graduates come on and be special
speakers.
I think
so, definitely.
Yes. Catherine Potter. She has her certificate in Canadian records. Catherine is an instructional designer, writer, and editor in the corporate world. She plans to turn to family history writing when she retires. And her business name is Harry's Family Tree. Kathleen Ray. She's from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Her certificate is in Canadian records, and she has specialized in Western Canadian genealogy for over 20 years. She offers genealogical workshops at libraries, societies, and small organizations, and she has experience air tracing. She is a published author and an APG member, the Family Tree Genealogical Consulting Company. Air tracing, by the way, is a very lucrative business. So let's see. Ronald Raymer. He's out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He got his certificate in Canadian records, and Ron has been researching his family tree for over 40 years. He will be devoting his retirement to further research and a new edition of his family book and nonfiction novel.
And Scott Roberts is from Somerville, Georgia. He has earned his American Records certificate with distinction. Scott is a professional genealogist living in beautiful Appalachian Mountains in northwest Georgia. Besides genealogy, Scott stays busy with his family of 7 children and 15 grandchildren.
There's a reason to be doing genealogy. Woo!
For sure. Linda Ryle is from Fall River, Nova Scotia. Canadian Records with distinction is the certificate that she has received. Linda has been studying and doing genealogy research on her family for the last 7 years. Now that she is retired, hopefully more time can be spent on it. And maybe we'll find a connection since I'm from Nova Scotia too. Christina TRACY, Flintstone, Georgia, and she has earned her American Records certificate. Christina is a Florida native with 20 years of experience researching families in the southern U.S. She's a Georgia Genealogical Society board member and ProGen graduate pursuing BCG certification. Her business name is Research Roots.
Carolyn Tricky Bapty is from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and her certificate is in English records. Carolyn graduated from the Carleton University with an interest in historical research. She's the author of several books. She is looking forward to offering her skills in genealogical research. That is fabulous. Lavina Van Lammeren. She is from Glassboro, New Jersey, and her certificates are in American Records with distinction and DNA and genetic genealogy with distinction. Lavina is the owner-operator of the Lin Lee Group, Publishers Representatives. She's fluent in Dutch, a retired attorney at law with an LLM, taxation, and estate planning certificate. That can come in handy with what you do. Carol Walsh. She's out of Cochrane, Alberta, Canada, and she is her certificate in Canadian records. Intrigued by puzzles and a passion for family history, Carol began her journey into genealogy. She published a children's book, Jolly Boats on the River, and is founder of Creative Roots Genealogy.
Cecil Anderson from Aroween Harvey Bay, Queensland, has certificates in Australian and Canadian records, both with distinction. Thistle arrived in Australia from Canada in 1969. She was inspired by her mother's stories and in 2009 began her genealogical journey. Today she spends her time helping others build trees. Eric Zapicki from Jindalee, Queensland, Australia. Certificates in English and German records. Eric has researched his families from Germany and its former Eastern Territories since 1985. He convenes the Central European Group of Queensland Family History Society and is a speaker and author. Ryan McLaughlin, Caves Beach, New South Wales, Australia. Canadian records. He has previously earned certificates in American, Australian, Eastern Europe, English, German, Irish, and professional development. Brian, a retired statistician and lecturer, commenced researching his ancestry in 2010 and genealogical studies in 2015. He has written books on his own life and travels. His business name is Data Age Genealogy.
I really think we need to take Brian as an example and our continued learning. He's just a huge example
Absolutely.
for us.
Maria Murphy from Coorparoo, Queensland, has certificates in Australian, English and Irish records. Maria has worked as a deceased estate heir tracer for 7 years. She has been researching her Irish, English and Scottish ancestors for 10 years and finds it extremely interesting.
So we're very excited to share with you the American Records graduates, Betty Bowman, Linda Carter, Linda Christensen, Amy Clown, Sherry Crown, Stephanie Cutter, Julie Ickler, Gaynell Fales, Hope Furlow, Pamela Groth, Laura Hall, Tim Hanks, Janice Hubbard, Lynn Jakubowski, Deborah Cabanier, Sharon Marsh, Kathy McCabe, Jody Miller, Angela Miner, Ginger Munster, Katie Myers, Janet N. Neal, Heather Robb, Scott Roberts, Jennifer Smith, Christina Tracy, Lavina Van Lammeren, and Heather Weaver. Congratulations. Australian Records graduates, Thistle Anderson and James Hill. Canadian Records graduates, Thistle Anderson, Patricia Blackstock, Catherine Blair Colbert, Allison Bourne Bowers, Charles L. Buckley, Roy Clark, Anna DeLee, Pauline Derrick, Kelsey Friend, David W. Gray, Beatrice Hale, Karen Hinkleman, Joyce Johnson, Michelle Jones, Lynn KENDELL, Suzanne Lorico, Carol McKay, Brian McLaughlin, Suzanne Main Price, Evelyn Page, Dahlia Petgrave, Kathleen Potter, Kathleen Poven, Kathleen Ray, Ron Raymer, Lynn Reeser, Linda Ryle, Marilyn Simlessness, Sandy Stockton, Heidi Stroskine, Justina Vickerman, Carol Walsh, and Jeannie Waters. Our DNA and genetics graduates are Lavina Van Lammeren. English Records graduates, Allison Bourne Bowers, Sabrina Brennott, Judith Fader, Kendra Geed, James Hill, Diane Caius, Eric William Kapitke, Marianne Littell, Maria Murphy, Carol Murray, Carolyn Tricky Bapti, and Justina Vickerman. Our German Records graduates are Betty Bowman, Eric William Kapitke, Justina Vickerman, and Heather Weaver. Our Irish Records graduates, Catherine Duffy, Annette Dunford, Karen Hinkleman, Maria Murphy, O'Hara. Librarianship graduates, Amy Clounch, Deborah Cabanier, Janet Murphy, Curtis Smith, and Sean Tanner. Professional development graduates, building their businesses, Kathleen Proven and Lynn Reeser. Congratulations to all our graduates. And if you had a tassel, you could move it over on the side now. We celebrate you. We're so proud of you, and we cannot wait for you to go out and continue discovering and help others to discover. Congratulations. And now we'd like to introduce Louise St. Denis. She is now retired and our Director Emeritus. Louise is the course material author for several courses. Louise St. Denis studied mathematics and business at the University of Windsor. Genealogy became a fascinating and fast-growing hobby for her in 1984. She researched her ancestors back to the 1600s. Some of Louise's time is also spent helping in the nonprofit sector. She's the founding president of the Société Franco-Ontarienne d'Histoire, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, et de Genealogie, in Toronto branch, past president of its provincial organization, past treasurer of the Association of Professional Genealogists, Ontario chapter, a member of several genealogical organizations both in Canada and in the US. Louise also served on the Special Advisory Board of Library and Archives in Canada as well as the French genealogical representative for the Ontario Heritage Alliance, a group with representatives from provincial organizations concerned with preservation of heritage. The first instructional videotape on how to research your roots, called Your Heritage to Discover to Share, was produced by Louise, and she's the author of 10 books. Louise lectures internationally on many areas of genealogy and has been the keynote speaker for various conferences as far away as Australia and New Zealand. Lectures can be heard in both French and English. For 2 years, Louise led an in-classroom program at the University of Toronto, continuing education in genealogical research. In 1999, Louise established a partnership with the University of Toronto, University of St. Michael's College, to offer the first and only comprehensive certificate program in genealogical studies offered entirely online, which resulted in the National Institute for Genealogical Studies, where you can still get your certifications in professional genealogical studies today. For 2 years, Louise led an in-classroom program and then developed this for us through that. To date, over 75,000 course registrations have been received. Genealogicalstudies.com is open for continuing education. Louise has been instrumental in the development of not only the program development, but also the course delivery software. We have a 5-minute word from Louise St. Denis that we are excited to share with you. Louise, take it away.
Hi. Have any of you ever heard me talk for only 5 minutes? This will be interesting. Hi, everyone. Let me congratulate our 163 students, first of all, for achieving their professional learning certificate in genealogical studies. I am so proud to say that this is our 17th graduation ceremony, and naturally the largest, since it includes everyone who has been completing their studies since April 2019. I'm sure I don't need to tell you, our graduates, how much work went into this accomplishment. But for those of you who are here supporting them, if ever you thought this was easy, you are wrong. These graduates worked darn hard to achieve what they've done. But in life, I'm sure you will all agree, anything worth achieving is worth the hard work. You know, I think back to 30 years ago when Heritage Productions first started, and then 5 years later on October 4th, 1999, the National Institute offered its first online course. This also was quite a challenge. Think back. Where was the internet back in 1999? Last week, I was in Windsor celebrating with my family my mother's 90th birthday. She was quick to remind me that finally, albeit 25 years late, I was finally going to slow down. Well, you see, I had told my mother over 20 years ago that I would be really busy for 3 years as I was creating the Canadian program. Well, nothing wrong with my mother's memory, that's for sure. What I didn't know then is that we would continue to add the American, the English, the Irish, and on, all of these different certificate programs. But you will notice in life that as you achieve one of your dreams or your ideas, a bigger one will pop into your head. So be prepared for lots of changes. I've always believed that dreaming about your future is good. That's how ideas get started. But I've also believed that when you dream, you should dream big. Dream in Technicolor is what I used to say. I know, that shows my age. Well, go after that dream, because with lots of hard work and the dedication your dreams deserve, you can achieve whatever you want. During the past 2 years, COVID has been extremely difficult for so many. I've spoken with lots of prospective students who lost their jobs because of COVID, others who became housebound alone and with only one other person. I remember a panic phone call I received one day. The student said, "Please, Louise, please give me more courses or I'm going to kill my husband." I gave her plenty of new courses. I didn't want any blood on my hands. But new prospective students were interesting to hear from. The excitement in their voices. It was inspiring to hear about their genealogy dreams. Many would tell me that they really never liked their jobs, but had been doing it for years. And now with layoffs, they felt the time had finally come to follow their genealogy dreams. For some, it meant a new career. Others chasing their dreams because of early retirement. What a variety of stories I heard. Some wanting to volunteer with their favorite society, others wanting to return to traveling by taking groups to their ancestral countries. DNA was playing such an important role for many also. Some wanting to find adoptees' biological families, Others providing guidance on using DNA to break through those brick walls. And as a surprise to me, many were hoping to work with police forces to resolve cold cases. Some who chose early retirement expressed wanting to leave a professionally documented genealogy for their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to enjoy. Some wanted to describe the lives of their ancestors in a book or video. So lots of different dreams these students had. It didn't matter, though, what these new students' dreams were. The excitement in their voices came across loud and clear. I was so lucky to be a part of how they felt they could achieve their dreams. I'm extremely fortunate. For the last 30 years, I've worked in a field that most of my circle of family and friends would say, "What? You'll never be able to make a living in the genealogical field." Or, "That's just for retired people." Actually, they would say that's just for old people. I was just in my mid-30s when I started my career in this field. Anything outside of the box seemed to gather negative comments. So, my first piece of advice for all of you is don't let people tear down your dreams. Believe in yourself, but be smart. Surround yourself with people who are just as passionate as you are about this field. Learn from the pioneers or from those who have been down a similar road. You don't need to be by yourself. With a student in the National Institute, it's nice to be able to share stories. It was interesting when I would talk to some of the students and they would say, "I want to do this, but I'm just not sure what I need to do to get there." I must admit, I would sometimes spend hours with some students just throwing ideas back and forth. So don't think you're alone. Ask questions. Ask lots of questions. That's how you learn. That's how you get ideas. Look around you. Open your eyes. Open your mind. There's a whole lot of ideas just floating around you. I have a habit of when I like a quote I hear, I put it up on my wall. Well, here's one that's been in my line of sight for years. Thoughts determine what you want. Actions determine what you get. So you can't just think. You must execute also. So as you decide the path in this genealogical world, my second piece of advice is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Lose your fear of being wrong. Use your dreams just like a new business owner would use a business plan. How can I achieve what I want? Plan it out. Write it down. We all have fears, but don't let your fears define you. Don't try to find someone to blame when something goes wrong. Simply grow from what didn't work. Remember to build on your mistakes. Use them as stepping stones because now you know what not to do. Look beyond your fears to see what a beautiful journey is out there waiting for you. My last piece of advice, do your own thing. Don't always compare yourself or look to see what someone else is doing. Trust your instincts, but at the same time, be open and grateful for positive advice, even though sometimes the advice may add a little detour to your dreams. Analyze this advice to see how it fits in to what you want to do. Be very, very grateful, though, for those who are supportive of you and of your dreams. Include them in your team. You need them in your life. Being the eternal optimist I am, I'm a big believer in positive thinking. I've read Norman Vincent Peale's book, The Power of Positive Thinking, several times. He says, keep thinking, keep interested, keep praying, and keep dreaming. For myself and my experiences, to have first dreamed of a school of genealogy and then to have built and established over the last 30 years, both Heritage Productions and then the National Institute for Genealogical Studies, I will agree with what Lady Bird Johnson said. It is wonderful to be in on the creating of something, see it used, and then walk away and smile at it. As I walk away into the sunset, guaranteed I'll continue to dream. But I will always look back at the National Institute with a smile and know in my heart that I helped fulfill dreams for so many individuals. I thank you, all of you, for giving me this gift that I will cherish for the rest of my life. And I told myself I would not cry, but here I am. But anyways, I wish your dreams achieved the same for each and every one of you. So keep dreaming and dream in Technicolor. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Louise. We have something very special that we're going to do now. And we have to do a slight change because we had Sue planning to help us. But in honor of Louise St. Denis, we would like to present her with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Louise, do you happen to have something you happen to get in the mail?
Now, I know this might be difficult for you to see because it's a beautiful piece of glass that is shaped in a book. And etched on it, it says, Lifetime Achievement in Genealogical Education, Louise St. Denis, and with the National Institute's name and logo on the opposite side. It's beautiful. It is heavy. I am amazed that they were able to send it without it chipping or breaking. It is just beautiful, and it will always have a very special place in my home. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And this is well deserved for 30 years of work in the genealogical studies, but also for founding the National Institute for Genealogical Studies. We are proud of you and so glad that you had the foresight to create this beautiful school. We have a little bit more heading your way. Sue was going to show it to you, but her power is out, so she can't. We have this beautiful keepsake box that has cards and letters in it from people that have interacted with you over the last 30 years. And some of those messages say, it was always an expected pleasure to know that you could be found at the National Institute for Genealogical Studies booth, from Stephen Young. You've been a visionary in our field, developing our first web-based education for those who dream of being a research professional. That's from Elizabeth Joan Mills. With your stalwart business sense and continuous drive for success, the National Institute of Genealogical Studies is now a beacon for students looking to improve their knowledge base, and that is from Penelope Christensen. This box will be put in the mail to you on Monday so that you can read. There is quite a few more. There are letters, there are emails, there are cards that were put together for you for a memory keepsake. And so that will come your way. Louise, congratulations, and thank you for all you've done for the genealogy community.
Thank you so much, Angela. I am looking forward to seeing those messages. I think that we don't realize sometimes the impact that we have on people's lives. And I noticed that when I sent out a message, a few months ago, announcing my retirement, and the comments that I received, they were heartfelt, and they were comments that people didn't need to make. And yet when they take the time to do that, it's just so heartwarming. And it's amazing how some of these things have affected a person's life for not just today or for tomorrow, but for their entire career. And I don't think I realized that until a few months ago when I sent that memo out. And I really appreciate what you've done, Angela. You know, everybody, you're now in good hands. Angela, I probably shouldn't say this because you probably did this for a reason, but I'm going to say it anyways, okay? Angela's also a graduate of the program. She just graduated from the English program. And having graduated from the English program, I thought that she would be a perfect person to take over this company. You'll notice the people that we surround ourselves with are all people who are graduates. Brenda's a graduate, Cheryl's a graduate, Sue's a graduate. I mean, I like to tell the story that Sue was picking up materials for her printed materials from our office, and she was between jobs. I asked her if she would do something for me, and I said, oh, it'll only take about 2 or 3 weeks. And 16 years later, she's still with us. But a lot of the people who come, that's exactly it. They've loved what they learned with the National Institute, and they've wanted to continue. Angela, when you came along and indicated your interest in taking over the National Institute and making it grow, I could tell by your passion of genealogy, but also because of what you did with your own courses, with your own learning side, that you would be an ideal person to carry on with my dream which now has become your dream, and to build this into something bigger and better, and to continue that research for the National Institute. I am positive that you will be bringing such beautiful things and new certificate programs for all the students that are here today and for the future. And, you know, something to always remember is people like Brian McLaughlin, who you mentioned, he's got so many different certificates. This is a person who was doing it for his own enjoyment and to help others. And, you know, I mean, I have to admit, Brian, I'm going to miss your emails that say, you know, Louise, when are you going to have the Italian courses ready? Because he does continue wanting to learn more and learn so much more. And I was serious when I said in my few words there that I really enjoyed talking with students and helping them just, you know, fulfill that dream that they've got. So anytime anybody wants to give me a call, you can always ask Sue or Angie or Cheryl or whoever, or Brenda. Actually, Brenda probably doesn't know my phone number, but because she always Skypes. But, you know, feel free. I'll always be there at the other end of the phone. So congratulations, Angela. I'm so pleased that you will be making the advancements into the next many, many, many years for the National Institute.
Thank you so much, and we're just really appreciative of what you've achieved here. I have a few announcements, and then we'll close. So I know y'all are kind of wondering what's going to be happening coming in the future since I'm taken over. Well, you may have already noticed the new sapphire and silver and white logos. We are going to have new ways of getting our course materials coming. You'll be able to get them in ebooks that you can annotate and download and print. You'll also be able to get them in what's called a collegiate paperback workbook. So those will be coming out, and as we review and update a course, those will also come out in those new formats. Currently, you'll still be able to get the 3-hole punch, but we'll see how many of those want to continue with that. We'll continue it if you want it, but you may prefer having it in the collegiate paperback or in the ebook. We'll see what you think of what's coming out new. The next course to come out with that will be the electronic internet. So that one will be coming out in ebook and collegiate paperback. Okay, we have some other really exciting announcements that I hope that will be very exciting to you. One of those is that mentor-tutor appointments are now available. We're constantly adding more mentors and tutors. And it's a surprise to some of our folks because this just was finalized yesterday. So if you want to make a mentor or tutor appointment with someone like Brenda or with Gina or with somebody else in DNA like Shannon or me, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to purchase half-hour or hour mentoring that focuses solely on you and not on a group. So if you have anyone that wants to take part in that with you, you can invite them. You can do it by Skype, you can do it by Zoom, but we'll have those appointments starting to populate on the website for you coming up, and there are already some there. The next thing is that our student lounges are going to be enhanced. We're moving from Adobe Connect on the student lounges to Zoom, which gives you the ability to actually chat. But what we're doing is the first 20 minutes of every student lounge will have a special speaker. Our first special speaker starting in July is Tina Lafreniere of Related Faces. She is exactly who I was talking about when I said I had a special thing coming up on photography. She has created a program that can identify antique photos of people. So they can use a lot of the pinpoint identifications and figure out who those people are in your photos. And she will be doing a 20-minute talk for us in our next student lounge on July 27th. So you'll get that Zoom link to be invited to and be involved with. This is a part of our focus on student life. So our student lounges are going to enhance your student life and give you a little more connectivity with people that are in classes with you. Our August student lounge is going to have a special 20-minute talk from Daniel from MyHeritage. And we're building out more student lounge, student life opportunities for you through the fall. So I'm very excited for you to be a part of that. There are now additional DNA virtual meetings with Shannon Combs Bennett that'll be available to you. And Shannon has also agreed to do some new Mayflower Colonial virtual meetings quarterly for you. So you'll be able to do a lot more connectivity through those virtual meetings. We will be slowly switching over from Adobe Connect to Zoom, and this will allow you to actually get on camera and sound and be able to connect with everybody. And we'll also be able to do breakout rooms. So after our 20-minute talks in our student lounge, you can go into breakout rooms and work on projects with other students, or talk about something that's of interest and of importance to you in your studies, or even meet with whatever instructor may be available during that student lounge. And then be looking out for some upcoming specials. One of those specials is if you belong to a genealogical society. Louise has done this in the past, and we're going to expand this into the future. If you belong to a genealogical society or you run a club, please contact me directly at 1-800-580-0165, extension 1, because I want to work with you to give you a special discount for your genealogical society or club. I just heard of a brand new club that's gone from 3 people to 10 people already just in the last couple months. And we're going to be connecting with that particular club to help them get their genealogical studies on. So these are some of the things. There are many, many more. For instance, your collegiate books are going to be coming in a basic level. They'll have a white background with a beautiful new cover. The intermediate will be silver, and the advanced will be sapphire blue. You'll be able to tell where you should lodge those on your shelves based on the color that they're in. And it'll be really easy and a lot less space on your shelf if you'd like to switch over to those collegiate books. So with all that and more coming, check in with us later, and we will be sure to give you some new exciting announcements coming out for the beginning of school studies in August and September. Thank you so much for being with us. We are so proud of you, graduates. And we will get this recorded event out in case some of your family and friends were not able to be here. So thank you, and happy studies. Bye-bye.